Tracking our atmospheric river event, high winds, flooding, dangerous mountain travel, the main event is unfolding overnight Tuesday through Wednesday and Thursday. So here's a look at some of the impacts we'll be tracking. Windiest days are going to be Wednesday and Thursday. We're talking wind gusts in the valley upwards of 55 miles per hour, and in some places even higher than that. Next up is going to be thunderstorms, hail, lightning, funnel clouds, as well as urban flooding. And finally, high impact mountain snow. Now, there'll be a lot that's going on in the background, but those are going to be the three top items that we want to lay out for you. As far as how this is all going to unfold throughout the day, we're basically expecting Tuesday to be a mostly dry day. Rain and snow doesn't really pick up until the overnight hours, and at that point, we'll also start to see the winds coming into play. Winds, again, over 55 miles per hour in some places from the valley, the foothills, and the Sierra. Now, snow is going to be really interesting because this is all part of a colder wave that's starting to move through. It's going to help to add some instability, but also bring down that snow line. We get a 1-2 punch here with action coming in again on Thursday. We've got more strong winds, heavy rain, and heavy snow. This is all going to play out in a manner of overnight Tuesday through Wednesday and Thursday. Big travel time to get to your holiday destinations. High wind warning in effect now. Gusts up to 60 miles per hour. That starts up late Tuesday, lasts through Wednesday and Thursday. With those types of winds, we could see trees coming down, widespread power outages, and of course, difficult driving. We've seen this time and time again where we see one wind event come through. It's sometimes the second wind event, kind of that 1-2 punch, that really makes for more wide-scale damage throughout the region. So winds are going to be roughly at about 45 to, and again, over 50 miles per hour in some places. We get a bit of a break during our Wednesday afternoon, but it's right back with us heading into our Thursday. So that's kind of the event that I'm talking about. We'll have saturated grounds, weakened trees from the first wind event, and then it's followed up by another one on Thursday. Now, with the instability in place, we've got a pretty higher level of thunderstorm risk coming in. We normally aren't in that bubble of marginal, but that's what we're going to be in from the Storm Prediction Center, putting us right down through the Central Valley in that marginal risk. That means lightning, hail, heavy downpours, all things that we usually see with thunderstorms, but also a bit of a one-notch up, meaning some small tornadoes or funnel clouds is what we normally see here in California. We'll be watching that very closely for the severe weather potential. Again, we're already under that flood watch, but now we're going to add some excessive rainfall to this forecast because of the amount of rain and the potential for heavy downpours. We've got slight to marginal risk throughout northern and central California. Once we get down into the LA basin, we jump into the moderate to high risk zone of flash flooding. Keep in mind, we had those devastating fires earlier this year in January throughout parts of Los Angeles. That means that the hillsides are just completely wiped out from anything that can really hold this amount of rain. Mudslides, rock slides, debris flows, very possible in parts of Southern California. Again, flood watch in effect through Friday evening throughout much of central and northern California. Rock slides, mudslides, very possible here throughout northern California, river rises and low-lying flooding. We've already seen that earlier this week, especially in the Redding area where we had people being rescued as well as people just trying to seek higher ground. Here's a look at some of the rain totals since December 19th. 6 plus almost 7 inches of rain for Grass Valley. Placerville closing in on almost 2.5 inches. Auburn over 2 inches. Redding as well. Vacaville 1 3/4 inches of rain. Marysville about 1.5 inches. Less than an inch for Lincoln, Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto once you head through much of the capital region. Now, I mentioned that flooding in Redding. I know 2 inches doesn't seem like a lot, but it depends on the time period that fell, and it was in a very short period of time. The storm drains and everything just can't keep up with that amount of water coming through. Something to keep in mind, even though the totals may not look completely off the charts, it's a matter of how long it took for that rain to accumulate. As far as our winter storm warning, that's in place through Friday. Heavy snow, gusty winds, check travel conditions, and really officials are saying if you can stay off the roads, especially for the mountains, do so. It's going to be dangerous, near whiteout conditions. They need to get the proper authorities up there to get the roads clear for people that actually live there. So if you don't have to head over the high country, it's best to just wait. And there will be a window of opportunity coming our way this weekend. As far as the snow since December 19th, that hasn't been terribly impressive compared to what we're about to see. Only 4 inches at Bear Valley, but 19 for Boreal, Heavenly, 17 Kirkwood, 18 Mount Rose. Really the big winner there, 52 inches, but that's over several days. 32 for North Star, Palisades, Tahoe, 22, Royal Gorge, and that's a great cross-country skiing area, 7 inches of snow. Sierra at Tahoe, 12, and Sugar Bowl closing us in at 22. So the big atmospheric river is still pulling in from the Pacific. You can see it's just vertically aligned here throughout the state, and that's what's going to help to really drive those precipitation totals up. Right now, that storm track just up to the north of us. Now, everything up must come down, and we saw mainly a rain event over the weekend in the Sierra, and that elevated the flood risk. Much of that was going into the reservoirs, so our numbers have come up somewhat, but still plenty of capacity for bigger volumes of water coming down the hill. What's going to be nice about this is once we see that snow line start to come down the hill ever so slightly, that's going to take the pressure off of all of those downstream creeks, streams, rivers from taking in that water from the Sierra. So instead, it's going to be held up as our frozen savings account of water. We really need that too. River forecast levels, a couple of spots here in the orange indicating that moderate flood. That's going to be at Tehama Bridge. It's going to be on the north side of the Sacramento River line. So it's really upstream here from the capital region. A lot of those free flowing weirs will get going, moving into the floodplain, some of that excess water. This is designed to do that. Basically, as soon as the water level gets to a certain point, it just free flows into floodplains and moves the water out, taking the pressure off of downstream flooding from more metropolitan areas. Because keep in mind, Sacramento is the confluence of the American and the Sacramento River, which the American is feeding everything coming in from the Sierra, and the Sacramento everything north from Shasta, especially when they do some releases from Shasta, our biggest reservoir in the state. So there's a lot of pressure for downstream through the capital region. Just as kind of a barometer, what we're looking at here for the Sacramento River at I Street. Latest was about 12 feet, and it's expected to crest at double that at about 24 feet. But even then, well below our monitor stage. We'll, of course, continue to watch that because each of these waves, if it really has an isolated cell that sits over us, it can elevate those levels pretty quickly. But right now, things are looking pretty good. All right, let's talk about that frozen account of water. It has been a snow drought in the Sierra. As of December 22nd, you can see those numbers are well below the 100 threshold that we would like to see that. Anywhere from about 7 to 34% of average to date. That April 1st average is kind of where we stop packing that snow in the Sierra, and we see more in the way of snow melt. That's when we'll start to feed some of those reservoirs. So 15% of average to date for our statewide, and then April 1st average 4%. All of that is to say we need more snow in the Sierra. As far as our rainfall, now we got a really big jump start in November. It was soggy throughout the entire state, and that put us on a big plus side for our statewide precipitation. But December has been terribly dry, but we're still running above average. We're going to jump well above that by the time we wrap up this week and start off 2026. But that is not a water year for California. No, our water year starts October 1st and lasts all the way into the end of September of next year. So the fall rain has already started. 50% of our annual precipitation will fall between December and February. This will be a nice little boost to those numbers. Unfortunately, it just doesn't hit during the best timeline here. Peak snowpack usually hits, like I said, at the end of March, beginning of April, and that's when we start that snow melt. And then water becomes at its highest demand, and those reservoirs start those big releases to feed the state. Once this low pressure system connects with this atmospheric river, that is just going to electrify this storm. We're going to see the biggest impacts come into play once those two make that connection. Right now, it's just kind of driving all of this moisture inland, but once that really makes that strong connection, we see the heaviest rain coming in. Look at that for Los Angeles, the Central Coast. By Christmas Eve morning, snow will continue to fall in elevation during our Wednesday and Thursday. By our Friday forecast, now keep in mind we still have strong winds going on for Thursday. By Friday, the winds back off, but what an event for the Sierra. Snow level will drop to about 4,500 feet. So those of you that think, oh, I'll just wait until Friday when we don't have so many of the alerts, the warnings, with a snow level at 4,500 feet, chaining up is going to be very low in elevation. There will be backups. They're going to be screening everybody to make sure that they have proper tires or four-wheel drive or chains on. All the trucks will be pulling over. Friday's going to be a mess in the Sierra. And then by the weekend, this is why I'm saying just hold off Saturday, Sunday, all the way through New Year's Eve New Year's week, I should say, is going to be great. Fresh powder, hit the slopes. It's safe to get up there in the high country. Rain totals, we're going to be upwards of 2 to 3+ inches of rain in the valley, 4+ inches of rain in the foothills. And then we'll look at those snow totals, several feet of snow accumulating for this year. Some really high totals around Mammoth and the central Sierra as well. We stay in a slightly likely warmer pattern through the beginning of the new year, but it's also likely wetter. This weather pattern seems to want to stick around for quite some time. Highs for our Tuesday in the 50s for this year, 50s to near 60 throughout the foothills with highs in the 60s across the coast. We take that inland as well. Folks, this is about 5 to almost 10 degrees above what we normally see this time of year. Once we get into the colder air, we are going to see a substantial drop in temperatures. We'll keep it on the warm side. Tuesday into Wednesday, that cold front moves through, drops our numbers into the 30s for the Tahoe Basin. That's why that snow line drops so low. We've got 50s to start us off here in the foothills. We'll end it in the 40s by Friday. Same for the coast, a little bit cooler there by the time we wrap up this holiday week. It's going to be all eyes on Wednesday and Thursday, though. Those are our two serious weather impact alert days. Today we see the wind and the rain picking up late in the day. Thunderstorms Wednesday and Thursday, even lingering into Friday, where those highs really just come crashing down for the last weekend of 2025. You can see highs are only in the upper 40s to right around 50. We're dry, though, it looks like right now for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.